Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 17 of season 3 of the F123 My Team career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here at Suzuka. Of course, if you missed out yesterday's video from the Singapore Grand Prix, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Singapore definitely seems like still a tough track for us inside this game. But of course, yes, 7 races to go. 3 sprint weekends between now and the end of the campaign. There is a lot more racing action coming your way over the coming days and weeks. Championship-wise, it is all looking very, very good for Sergio Perez at the moment. A 53-point lead over his teammate Max Verstappen as we head into the final few races. George Russell there still in P3 ahead of both Ferraris and Lewis Hamilton. We're now tied with Oscar Piastri in P7 there, and best of the rest, I guess you could still kind of call us, but yeah, really, we're locked into this battle, you know, as us and us and Aston Martin even try to compete with the big 3 teams. But of course, yeah, if you're new around here, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well to the channel, closing in slowly but surely on 120,000 subscribers at the moment. But yeah, Japanese Grand Prix, let's do this thing. Immediately jumping in then to Q1 here for the Japanese Grand Prix, and some big rumours as we head into this weekend about potential regulation changes for next season. Team don't know quite yet what they're going to be, but they are meant to affect multiple departments again, so I'm sure Audi will be trying to look for a way that we can leapfrog right towards the front of the field from the get-go, ready for next season then. But yeah, jumping on though, we're going to do our usual trick of medium compound tyres in Q1, see if we can make it through. Of course, we had a bit of a nightmare at Singapore last weekend. Qualifying pace was absolutely nowhere around that venue, so hopefully it's going to be a bit better here. But I'm very much learning as well just how high downforce levels you really want to run on F123. We're basically running close to Monaco levels here at Suzuka. I think I'm running like 47, 45 wing or something like that. So you can see there through the S's, most of it was almost flat out. Obviously, we might lose a bit of time around the rest of the lap, but of course these cars are just so quick down the straights. And of course, you know, because of the way the limiter works as well, you can't really push them to ridiculous top-end speed anyway. You may as well have that sticking power through the corner. 7/10 up on Teo Porcher, those who make our way through 130R. Of course, that is always very, very easy flat, but making our way down through the Casio Triangle, just trying to tap the curbs nicely, get on that throttle, avoid the curbing, out of the final turn, shortest run to the line, 26.3. He's going to put us P13 there. It's a pretty decent lap for the mediums, but we're probably going to have to do a soft run. Well, we actually had the pace, though, on that first run, but as we jump into Q2, it is Suzuka, so of course the heavens have started to open. And now, the rain is meant to get worse and worse as qualifying goes on, so we're just going to head out onto the circuit as early as we can, and we're going to invalidate my outlap. But it might have actually been quite wise here to put a little bit of extra fuel in the car to try and go for 2 laps, but yeah, circuit just meant to get wetter and wetter as this session goes on, so need to just make sure that we get a clean and tidy lap on the board first of all. But plenty of cars not heading out onto the track yet, so this might be a golden ticket to get into Q3 quite quickly. Of course as well, the other thing I forgot is this should really, really suit our high downforce concept. We should have a lot more sticking power through this first sector. We were purple through here, despite being on the mediums in Q1. So that goes to show just how much pace we're able to find. Well, we might just have enough fuel to go for a second run as well, but this first one has felt fairly clean and tidy. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2, still completely flat as we head down in towards the final couple of corners through 130R, and then just navigating our way through clean and tidy. Hopefully we're going to get a good representative on the board as a banker. It's going to be a 136.1, and there we go. Ferrari behind us. Charles Leclerc cannot go quicker. Making our way, though, down in towards the final couple of corners. Another 4/10 up at the moment. Sergio Perez has been the only driver able to go quicker than me, but we might be about to smash that out of the park once again. Rain doesn't actually look to be falling any more at the moment, so it is very, very tricky to call about what you want to be doing, but making our way through those final couple of corners. Again, a little bit scrappy on the exits. We try and put the power down. Going to be pretty even between myself and Checo. We do go fastest by another 400s over our championship leader. Well, we're going to need a similar process as we jump into Q3, though. Going straight back out onto the track as early as possible. Because, again, that rain is just meant to get heavier and heavier as qualifying continues. So 2-lap run again at the start of the session. We may as well try and go out for a last-ditch run late on if needed. But yeah, it is tough testing conditions here at Suzuka, but I would very happily take a third pole of my career. Thank you, Lewis. Don't know why he's letting me by, but the Mercedes clearly wants to follow me for a lap then. Yeah, that seems odd that you give up track position when that could lead to quite a big advantage. Right, come on then. Well, let's go for it. First lap here then in Q3. We want to try and get a pole lap. Don't know what sort of times we've got to be aiming for. Track doesn't feel too different to Q2, so maybe 35 still are going to be possible, but could really be a step into the unknown here as winding our way through turn 1. Pretty clean and tidy. Obviously, remember, those strict track limits are absolutely here to punish us. We're going to try and leave it in 5th. So make our way up through the S's. We've got on that downforce. We've got that sticking power. 4th gear through the penultimate one, just because you need that little bit more rotation over the crest. And then back up to 5th and then 6th as you head up through Dunlop. Very, very careful on the throttle. So make our way into the Degners, breaking down 2 gears at about 65 metres out. Purple in the first sector though. Oh, as we just run on that curbing. Got away with it though. Game didn't feel like gained an advantage on that white line. It's just trying to make sure we don't lock the fronts up down into the hairpin there. Super easy on the throttle on the way out. Won't be able to get onto full throttle before 4th gear. And that was pretty tidy actually. I'm pretty happy with that. As we make our way all the way up to 8th down before spoon braking about 70 metres out. 5th gear on the entry. Make sure you don't run over that curb in 4th gear through the second part. Allows you to get on the loud pedal nice and early on the exit. As now we've got a bit of a chance to brake. And ready for 130R and then the Casio Triangle. 1:18.9 the split time at the end of Sector 2. So we get 130R nice and tidy, braking about 140 metres out. Big braking zone into the Casio Triangle, especially in these slippery conditions. But try and put the throttle down out of the final corner. Shortest run to the line. That's going to be a 36.9 as Hamilton will go slower than me. But I reckon there's a bit more to be had.
Okay, we've only got 1 lap of fuel remaining.
Scary, almost big moment as we make our way down in towards 130R again. But Pierre Gasly, we might be about to ruin Alpine's party here as we make our way in towards the final couple of corners. We found another 8 tenths on my previous run here, so hopefully try and... Oh no! No! It's all gone right at the final corner, and Pierre Gasly now might have an opportunity for pole position here in Suzuka. That was agonising right at the very end of the lap. We get a warning for pit lane speeding as well, but are we going to get another opportunity at this? Will there be time, or is the rain going to keep falling? Right, we've got a minute on the clock. Most cars aren't bothering with a final run here, but I just want to see if we can try and snatch that pole position away from Pierre Gasly. We were 8 tenths up after our first couple of runs, but just could not make it work through the Casio Triangle. Track conditions, it's definitely getting slipperier here, but I am not going to go down without a fight. Out of the final corner, sweat mode is going to be required. We need about half a tenth if we want to upset Gasly and his French team's party. As immediately, that is not the line at 1. We just have not got the grip here, have we? No grip at all. Absolutely nothing we could do there. Still 8 tenths down at the end of Sector 1. May as well keep pushing, but yeah, lap's already gone. But there's just not enough grip on this surface. I tell you what, obviously without those couple of mistakes around the lap, we could have definitely still been on the money there, but there was easily close to another second overall here at Suzuka. But this is such a tough track to try and get 1 lap hooked up on, rounding our way through the Casio Triangle for the final time in qualifying. Here we go temporarily green, but up towards the line. it's going to be completely irrelevant there. It's P2 on the grid, and it felt like that one should have been the lap. Well, there we go. Jubilation down at Alpine there. Pierre Gasly with, I think, their first pole position ever inside this F123 career mode there. 2/100ths of a second clear of myself. And boy, oh boy, does that feel like a lap time that we should have been able to get on pole position there. 5 cars from 5 different teams making up the top 5 on our grid here today, all with different power units as well, obviously, with the exception of Audi and Red Bull there. But P6 for Alex Albon, I'm sure he'll be kicking himself with that, just 2/10ths away from pole position. But let's get into it, though. It's time for the Japanese Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to the magnificent Suzuka International Circuit, a stone's throw away from Issa Bay in the beautiful Japanese countryside. What surprises lie in wait for us today at the Japanese Grand Prix? 18 corners make up a lap of the incredible figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit, with 10 to the right and 8 to the left, for a distance of 3.6 miles. Average lap speeds around here are fairly quick. If it stays dry, then expect somewhere in the region of 136 miles per hour. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. A fantastic effort from Pierre Gasly yesterday puts him on pole position, and Mr. Monaco completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Sainz, Hamilton, Albon, Russell, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Ocon, Magnussen, Norris, Verstappen, Fittipaldi, De Vries, Joe, Bottas, Liam Lawson, Tsunoda, Teo Pourchaire, Stroll and Logan Sargent. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for today's race. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Okay, this is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix, which means there's a lot of very important people here behind the scenes. I'd love to give them a strong result to watch today, plus a good result might make my post-race meetings a little bit easier.
Oh, Mark, we love his humour inside F123, but yeah, kind of the team's home Grand Prix, of course, or power unit supplier anyway. Red Bull powertrains, Honda powertrains, you never really know what's going on in the world of F1 at the moment, but we have got a big opportunity today to try and get back on top. Pierre Gasly there. Do I expect Alpine to be that quick? I really don't know, to be honest. Gasly looked very, very comfortable throughout the entirety of qualifying, and Alpine have weirdly shown up on a few occasions this year. Everyone pretty much is on a set of soft compound tyres. Everyone's taken a lot, of course, because we didn't get to use them in Q2 or Q3. But yeah, my goal is try and get past Gasly early and run away as Verstappen, after Perez's nightmare qualifying, has taken some penalties, which has given the Mexican a chance. Let's do this thing, though. Ready on the grid for the Japanese Grand Prix. 5 red lights. The lights out and away we go. It's trying to not get too much wheel spin off the launch. Hamilton behind us actually doing very well. But immediately move past Carlos Sainz there and myself. Hamilton, mega run as we head down in towards the first corner there. But Gasly will hang on at the front of the field there with now our fellow Brit in hot pursuit. Of course, Hamilton's last ever Japanese Grand Prix hasn't been a track historically that he's been too incredible at, but I'm sure, like everyone else, he loves coming back to this venue with so much grip already because, obviously, the dry conditions again. So very much enjoying that through this first sector, of course. But, yeah, it wasn't quite the start that I had in mind, though. Albon up in P5, of course, by virtue of Verstappen's grid penalty as well. So hoping he can have a bit of a better race than either of us did at Singapore last time out. Of course, we want to make sure that we finish the season ahead of Oscar Piastri. There is a yellow flags out already just for the Constantina and up on lap 1. But yeah, it's going to be difficult today, of course, trying to manage these tyres, especially when we've got such a different setup to the AI. I would assume they're running a lot more straight line speed than me, as you can already see Hamilton bolting away down in towards the final couple of corners. So this is going to be rather tough to try and combat against. We're really going to have to use all of my brain cells for this race, so probably see me in a wall in about 4 corners time. But yeah, rounding our way though through the end of lap 1, Hamilton clearly senses an opportunity for a win here. Maybe the last of his Formula 1 career, but it is still Gasly that leads. Oh, Hamilton, a little bit of a wobble as we make our way down in towards the hairpin. We'll show the nose. Yeah, nowhere near close enough to go for a run that time round, but yeah, Lewis is definitely struggling then. I mean, we've just got so much downforce through those first couple of corners. I can't wait to find out how many times I say that in this video. Someone keep track of it and let me know down in the comments below. But yeah, Gasly just trying to hang on at the front, maybe senses an opportunity to build up a lead, if of course Hamilton and I start to squabble. And there we go, we will take fastest lap away, 1:27.4. That is rather quick here, as I had completely forgot about how weird the AI can be down into turn 1, but DRS now enabled. Let's just showcase then how much sticking power we've got through these first couple of corners. I mean, look at that against Hamilton, having to slow down behind him just because he's going that much slower than me, and we can basically ride on the Mercedes gearbox there as we'll try and use the ERS out of Dunlop. Completely easy flat through there, even with a full tank of fuel. But Suzuka is not an easy track to overtake on. It is old school, it is narrow there as well. Hamilton, another error. And I'm potentially now trying to have a look down the inside of the hairpin. We'll have a look. Whoa, he's going to try and squeeze me. We get a little bit wedged out over the curbing. And there was definitely an opportunity there to make a move stick. But just was worried about contact. Yellow's out. Someone further back with issues. Is it a Red Bull? Is it someone else? I think it might be an Alpine. It must be Esteban Ocon then. Fallen to the wayside here. Ocon out of the Japanese Grand Prix, and surely Alpine now will be even more nervous with their other driver in front. Here we go, Hamilton though on Gasly as we make our way back down to turn 1. Hamilton wants nothing of it though this time round. He'll sit behind Pierre. Clearly wanted to try and get a run right the way past him if he was going to make anything happen. But now again, as we make our way into the S's, oh, I mean, look at how much more speed we can take in there to the outside of Hamilton as we make our way through. You don't often see moves there, and you're not going to see one this time around either. Oh, Hamilton again, another little mistake though as we head out of Spoon. But this time around again, he's just got the speed to gather it up and keep going. Are we going to be able to get close enough though as we make our way down through 130R? Yes, we are, Hamilton. Tiny blender throttle on the way in. Oh, big rear lock in there as we try to have a look down the inside of Lewis, but he covered it off. Beautiful positioning by the Merc there, down in towards the final couple of corners, but was honestly quite impressed that we were able to get it slowed down. Are we now going to see Hamilton, though, try and get a move on Gasly? Is he starting to feel the pressure? No, he's going to let off early, and it was a good job we were down the inside then, because I would not have been able to react in time. And we are now back to P2 of the Japanese Grand Prix. You can just see still, though, Gasly is going to be under some pressure. This is the other thing why high downforce works so well, especially with these more upgraded cars. Because of how powerful the ERS is still, and the DRS especially, obviously you can pretty much negate any disadvantage you had. And of course, well, because the battery is so efficient on these upgraded cars, you're basically not really losing out anything, of course, because you'll just use the battery where you need to still. But yeah, heading out the final corner though, back to start lap 6, Pierre Gasly has led 5 laps here of the Japanese Grand Prix, but I can't help but feel that's going to come to an end. He's going to try and squeeze me to the inside as we get back down towards turn 1, but we're down the inside we'll go, and we are now into the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. I'll take the warning there. Hopefully we won't pick up a 3-second time penalty today, but now we're going to try and build up the DRS margin through the bits where we're strong. So we make our way up through the hill. Hamilton still in P3, they're ahead of Sainz. You can already see just pulling out a few tenths. Here comes Gasly though, back to the outside of me as we make our way down in towards 130R, and Hamilton is going to try and follow him by. Whoa, we're just going to get boxed in horribly there behind the Frenchman, and Hamilton will say thank you very much. So suddenly we go from being at the front to being back to where we were on lap 1. Very, very difficult to try and judge this at the moment with what to do against our two rivals there, as Sainz and my teammate are just waiting in the wings still. Will Hamilton now be able to go for a run on Pierre Gasly back down into turn 1? No, he will not, in a word there. And again, the AI desperately need fixing here at Suzuka. Who slams on the brakes that early in towards turn 1? We're going to have to box now. We're going to have to try and go long on a set of the hard compound tyres to the end of the Grand Prix. But that has been an absolute disaster. Hamilton, that is disgusting. As that's going to be a warning for track limits, is it? We got no more of those then, apparently. this is just a disaster. We've got a penalty. I've got no wing. What am I meant to do, game? Another warning.
Go against that finishing time at the end of the race. Get your head down and let's get it done.
Oh, what a frustrating moment. Battling for the lead here at Suzuka, but what the team's saying in terms of strategy. Surely it's got to be hard tyres, front wing change, everything like that. But yeah, we just got to try and limp back to the pits. I think that 3-second time penalty as well is going to potentially really cost us, but we've lost out a lot to Pierre there. But I can't help but feel like the car's actual pace is still pretty strong. So I'm not going to give up on this afternoon just yet. We'll try and keep Lando at bay to make our way down towards the final couple of corners. Yeah, that seems about right. So now I've got one more warning before a second penalty this afternoon, but huge front lock-in. Get the car down into the pit lane though at the end of just lap 7. 20 laps isn't impossible on a set of the hard compound tyres either. Just be nice if we got like a well-timed safety car or something like that later on in the day. But we're going to be down to last place then of the Japanese Grand Prix, and well, these are the tough moments, the bitter pills that you have to swallow in the world of Formula 1. And I've just got to pray as well that we don't get held up behind the likes of Sargent and Sonoda. We're going to be a long way behind them. I don't think we're going to have to worry about that too much.
Okay, off we go, back into the race. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one.
Yeah, Mark, I'm not appreciating the optimism at the moment. We're about 15 seconds behind Sargent then. Let's see what we can do. A small consolation then. Oh, it's a 2-1-2. Makes me feel a little bit better, but yeah, new fast lap of the day. As we start lap 10, we are taking a lot of time out of those cars in front, but yeah, where are we going to re-emerge today? Zhou Guanyu's definitely got an issue. Zhou Guanyu is basically breaking down in this Grand Prix. Not ideal for him. Could we get a safety car? Could certainly spice things up as Zhou Guanyu making his way. I reckon he's got a puncture then. So we round up. Oh, come on. I'm trying to literally avoid another car there, game. Not going to get a safety car though from it. And that is 6 seconds worth of penalties. All over the back now of Logan Sargent. Really don't want to lose any time stuck behind these cars at the moment. Can we get down the inside? Oh, it was suddenly at the last moment I remembered Sebastian Vettel, and I think it was Daniel Ricciardo down there. Another warning. End of lap 11 though. Ferrari and McLaren, first ones peeling into the pit lane here as we've closed up to Stroll and Sonoda as they're both going to peel in. Thank you very much, lads. Get out of the way, give me some DRS. But where are we going to re-emerge then? Right, let's see. We're going to be out behind Leclerc, which is rather frustrating. But ahead of Lando. Okay, Pourchaire actually doing us quite a favour here, holding up Charles Leclerc as we make our way down in towards Spoon. But I think now we're going to see a lot more cars into the pit lane at the end of this lap. Yes, we are. Hamilton in, so Gasly is going to retake the lead of the Grand Prix as Pourchaire and Leclerc side by side. Charles is just about going to swoop through and in front then of the Haas, but are we going to be able to claim some DRS off him? Pretty late on the brakes. I'm hoping Pourchaire is going to dive it in. He probably should do. Yes, he does. So we will claim some DRS then off of Charles Leclerc here, and we should be back very, at least close to the points. We might just be inside the points here, as there is Verstappen. So we are up to 10th place then of this Grand Prix, but remember, we have got 6 seconds worth of penalties to contend with. The rest of our front runners then into the pit lane, so I'm sure Pierre Gasly will be hoping for a nice, clean, tidy stop. Leclerc now just trying to apply some pressure to Oscar Piastri. Seems like we haven't got bad pace though still at the moment, despite these hard compound tyres. As are we going to be out ahead of any of those other cars? We might be actually quite close then. Race on exit, we'll get around Magnussen. You can see there Russell back out, Perez just in front of him. So Perez still looks like he can further extend his championship lead over his teammate Max this weekend. But what are we going to be able to do? We might be able to switch George off the exit. So make our way down out of the hairpin. George Russell there just about has got straight line speed again to hang on. But yeah, this is quite a good little gaggle of cars actually that extends right towards the front of the field. So a bit like Singapore, to be honest, although I mean, one of those penalties I absolutely do disagree with. I reckon we should have only had 3 seconds here. Certainly didn't gain anything when we got those 3 warnings for the front wing damage. But yeah, I think we've just got to try and get on with it still. It's a good job we're not in a championship battle or something like that. There's big rear locking down at the chicane. But yeah, I could really do with like a late race safety car or something like that. We're in a safety car about now, so we could go alternate. and really then just try and drag this thing to the flag. So you can still see that again. Merc locking up, braking early at turn 1, as I'll get another warning for my troubles. Here comes Max Verstappen though. We are definitely still struggling on these tyres at the moment. Down the inside will go the Dutchman. And we'll try and switch him on the exit. Max actually able to take that corner completely flat, which cannot be said for a lot of the AI this afternoon. But yeah, Magnussen there right on my gearbox as well. It looks like Magnussen again could be the car that costs me a point here in this GP. Lando Norris 5 seconds back, so we could end up racing him towards the end of the afternoon. All it takes is one mechanical issue for another car. Amazed still I haven't had an engine failure on F123. Oh, come on, Magnussen. Where on earth the AI getting this kind of speed from? Down the inside will go the Dane. And we are now into P11 of the Japanese Grand Prix then. I mean, he's just about going to have the DRS off Verstappen in front. It's a big old train of cars, though, and I mean, it's just the typical group, isn't it? Aston Martins, ourselves, the big three, and often it appears to be Pierre Gasly who is just losing places as this race goes on. Albon's having a pretty good run up in P2, as you can still see Magnussen. He's behind no one. Like, he's not right on someone's gearbox or anything, but they're still all lifting off. EA desperately need to change this at Suzuka. It is so stupid. Well, Magnussen might just have lost the DRS to Max Verstappen, though he hasn't. Magnussen's still hanging on in there, but we are slowly pulling away from Lando Norris. And I mean, if we did get a safety car, we'd probably only lose the one place to Lando here, so we could bolt on a set of softs to try and take to the end of the Grand Prix, but I'm just not expecting anything at the moment. Seems like safety cars, red flags, all that kind of thing have been massively reduced in Season 3. Haven't made any tweaks my end, they're all still on. But yeah, just very, very weird. Whoa. So done with it. So done with it. What? Why? Why do they need to do that? Down at turn 1. You're basically just trying to avoid them, because occasionally they won't do it. It's just they cannot cope with the idea of the DRS, can they? EA, Cody's, whoever, fix this. I can't cope with it on this game, you know. It's the fact the AI still lift off through 130R in maxed out cars. So done with this at the moment. So done with this track. You know, we absolutely have had the pace to win today, but it's just impossible against these AI. You can't race them round here. Yeah, seems about right. Come on. Where's Nick DeFries? There he is. So done with this game. So done with this game at the moment, you know. I don't get how the tracks can be so inconsistent. How can they get the balance still so badly wrong after so many years? F124 has got to be better in this regard, you know. You could start tweaking AI each race, things like that. You know, the fact we can be on the fight to take pole at Suzuka by... What? No, by half a second. You know, we could have been almost a second up round here, but Singapore last race, for example, with a second and a half behind my teammate. How can there be 2.5 second variance between different tracks' AI speed and things like that? It's so stupid. AI can't drive around this place to save their lives. They've got to brake 50 metres early into some corners, and turns that have been flat for, what, a decade at least? Suddenly now, with some of the highest downforce cars we've ever seen in terms of high-speed performance, they've got nothing. Nothing they can possibly do at all. The exit of Dunlop they can do flat, but 130R they can't. I can understand Bottas there being a bit slow because he's in an Alfa Romeo, but so ridiculous. I mean, I hope this is just a half step of the game. I really do. Because if this is meant to be a full evolution of F1 again, they've done a really bad job with it at the moment. You know, I'm really hoping F124 has got some massive changes. Like, there's so many things I enjoy about this game as well. This is the problem. You know, the handling model is so much better. The way the brakes work and the traction is absolutely fantastic. It is such an enjoyable game to drive on, but it's just not that enjoyable to race against the AI still, and that's the problem at the moment. I mean, look at this, down into 130R. Yeah, Bottas. Alongside him, I got my wing there. He'll still come across me, but he'll lift off in the process. And now we're going to get hit. So dumb. So dumb. 5 second penalty.
up at reduced pace. Keep a close eye on that delta time. Make sure to keep it positive. Okay.
Fitzpatrick got a 5-second penalty as well. I mean, do I even bother? I don't know. I mean, we're not going to score points, are we, anyway? We may as well just save the engine. It's not the way I ever want to end these videos, but it's things like that on this game that are so stupid. So stupid. Yeah. They've just got to do better. Surely. I just... yeah.
Okay, we had an issue attaching the left rear wheel. I know it's not ideal, but let's try and put that behind us now and get back into this race.
So Alfa Romeo have won it, and what a great race it was. What do you think it was today, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition?
I think we'll chalk this one up to a deft touch on the brake pedal. That's allowed them to challenge down the inside into the braking zones, and ultimately, if you do that often enough, you end up winning the race. It was great to watch as well though, wasn't it? Forget strategy, forget tyre management. Who doesn't love a good old-fashioned scrap?
Looks like they're on their way out onto the podium now, and what a result this is, and a popular one with the crowd as well. Great stuff to see the Alfa Romeo team on top here today. Let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. This result then narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
It's got to be Valtteri Bottas, a commanding performance that I think had the audience's eyes glued to him for the majority of the race.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. Another team that will be satisfied with this Grand Prix is Alfa Romeo, whose good results moves them further up the championship. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, if that doesn't sum up how broken this game is, I don't know what will. There somehow Bottas has won that in when all is said and done. Liam Lawson gets a career first podium as well, so big result for Alfa Romeo and Williams, and it's probably going to screw over McLaren as well because of that massive points all there. Verstappen somehow P3 ahead of Russell and Perez, Magnussen, Leclerc, Gasly ahead of Tsunoda and Hamilton. To be honest, that's the only one I'm quite happy about after he took me out to finish P10 there, but Albon's been screwed over as well from an easy P2 come the end of the race. None of those results, to be honest, really make sense, so I'm not going to look into it all too much, but it does mean championship-wise, Perez still 48 clear of his teammate there, George Russell, now over the 200-point threshold, and we're still tied with Oscar Piastri, still 14 ahead of our teammate Albon there, so he probably should have jump on me, and Hamilton should have been up battling it out now with both of the Ferrari cars there. Further down, though, Bottas straight to P13, Lawson up in a 14th place there, so Lawson's first points of the campaign just now leaves Logan Sargent, Nick de Vries, Fittipaldi, Pourchaire and Stroll, because, yeah, of course, Tsunoda picks up his first point of the year as well in the AlphaTauri car there. It does mean constructors-wise, Red Bull still out front ahead of Mercedes and Ferrari. We're still fourth ahead of Aston Martin. Alpine ahead of Alfa Romeo now, ahead of Williams there. McLaren down to 9th, AlphaTauri, and then Haas are the only team yet to score. But, yeah, annoyed, to say the least. I think that's been made glaringly obvious throughout the entirety of this video there. You know, I don't want to go down to a 16-race calendar for Season 4 of this championship, but when there's so many tracks that there seems to be issues with inside this game, it does really make me start to wonder, you know, what tracks we're going to have to drop so we can actually get a competitive and at least semi-realistic championship as well out of it. But we will be back tomorrow. We return to Qatar, a track that is actually very, very good fun to drive on F123, so I'm hoping we can come back to a bit of a better race. But thank you all so much for watching, and yeah, we'll be back very, very soon.